This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey everybody, it is the After Party live on this Friday. Thank you for being here. And I know the Mark Thompson show ran long, which means there is no more wait before you get your weekly dose of At the Movies with Tim Sika. He is here, he is standing by, and he has a lot of really interesting movies to talk about today. I have to tell him about how I went to see Moana. Nice. Okay, I see everyone in the chat. Everybody is ready to rock and roll, and here we are. Let's do it. It is, I have the picture, At the Movies with Tim Sika. Tim Sika, welcome aboard.
Hi, Kim. Yeah, you know what? I was planning to see Moana 2 to talk to you about it today, but whatever, the best laid plans. Yeah, I will see it though. I'm going to be doing some preliminary voting this week, so I will see it like by next week. But what did you think of it? I'm hearing kind of mixed things about it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I liked it, but I like all things tropical anyway. I thought it was really a love letter to the culture, and I thought it was, well, not, the music. I really love the music of the first movie. So it's not as ingrained, and it doesn't have as many big musical, scores that you'll be singing in the car on the way home.
Right.
I still felt like it was a good movie, and I liked the story. So Moana 2 gets a thumbs up from me.
Yeah, a lot of my colleagues they're not disliking it. They're saying it's not as good as the first. They're comparing and contrasting and everything. But my sense about it is that it is probably very good. I'm looking forward to seeing it because I think it's the only one of the animated features I think that I still have to see that have been released this year. There's been some really good ones this year. So, I'll have more to say about that next week.
Okay, I'll look forward to that. I did text you after I saw Wicked. While I was sitting
you did. Yes.
Right after the movie ends, I whip out my cell phone and I'm texting you as I'm crying in the movie theater. Something about the message, the plot, the crescendo of music, the taking back of her own power, just like hit me in the feels. And my son looked over at me and he's like, "Are you okay?" I'm crying in the movie theater. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, I was talking to a publicist today because I was in the city doing an interview for a movie that we'll talk about in January when it comes out. But I was talking to him about, I've seen a lot of movies this year, and many of them very, very good, very, movies that I admired a lot. But I think the only movie that just grabbed me emotionally in the way you're talking about is Wicked. I mean, there's a lot of things I said critically about it, but those things are only interesting for people that are like into the minutia of film musicals. But Wicked is the one movie that just got to me. I mean, and it was so emotional that it's almost like, well, criticism be damned. This is a moving, exhilarating, inspiring movie. And wasn't the ending great?
The ending was like so powerful. I was bowled over. And I will say that I have a friend who said, "Oh, this movie is a chick flick. It's for chicks and gays." And I was like, wait a minute. Hold on, pal.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people may think that about musicals, but most of us saw The Wizard of Oz as a kid and loved it. And that was regardless of your gender or your sexual orientation. And I would argue this movie just happens to be a musical. And the music is amazing, but the message and the story come through despite singing or not singing. So
and it's again, I said this I think last week when we talked about it. It's not an easy thing to do, to take a theater piece and make it into a movie, that breathes and that looks like a movie and doesn't feel stage bound. Just in terms of the direction of this film, it was exceptional. I mean, it was Yeah, I mean I think it's going to be huge, as we talked about on the text at awards time. I think it's just going to make a ton of money,
I think
and
you're right on the money on that one.
yeah,
Absolutely.
make a ton of money and win a lot of awards. In fact, I think it just won the National Board of Review Best Picture
Oh,
prize.
really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Now that I'm thinking here, yeah, it did. It won the National Board of Review a few days ago, Best Picture of the Year. So
Incredible.
already it's starting. Yeah.
Yeah. And it looks like from all the press I've seen Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo do, it seems like they really became friends and they have this great relationship. So I don't know.
Yeah, and they have a really great relationship with the ladies who played those roles
Right.
on Broadway, Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Mhm.
it's like the older ladies were sort of passing the torch to them
Right.
to play these roles, and they're all doing the love fest on
Incredible.
the PA tour. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the movies you have lined up for us this week. The first one is called Queer.
Yeah, speaking of gays and chicks, this is actor Daniel Craig, James Bond.
Uh-huh.
He's getting lots of critical buzz for his performance as a drug-addicted, outcast American expatriate who becomes infatuated with a younger man in this film adaptation of the 1985 novella by William S. Burroughs. And hey, look, this is William S. Burroughs. So you kind of know going in that if nothing else, it's going to be hallucinogenic and weird and not for all tastes. And when you add an overtly gay story over all of that expected weirdness, well, you get a movie like this one, Queer. Of course, it's an LGBTQ plus drama. It's directed in a kind of fever dream style by Luca Guadagnino, who did Call Me by Your Name, and the recent Challengers, which is available streaming now. I think it's still even in theaters. It's nicely shot. The performances are generally good, but as you're watching it, you're going, or as I'm watching it, I'm going like, why? Why this story? And that why kept increasing as the film chugged along and moved into this what can only be described as a self-consciously bizarre third act in the jungle, where these two men meet up with this off-the-grid female doctor who's doing research on ayahuasca, which is a vine, a tropical vine that's native to the Amazon region. It's noted for its hallucinogenic properties, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, there's lots of sex between Daniel Craig and his object of desire, this younger man played by Drew Starkey, probably the most explicit gay sex scenes I can remember in any mainstream movie. But I've seen this story told so much better many times before in films like The Blue Angel or Of Human Bondage, or even The Death in Venice, where an older man is fixated on a much younger woman, or in the case of Death in Venice, a much younger boy, which you just know from the get-go is going to lead to this symphony of personal humiliation, disaster, and death, right? I mean, I suppose the film is a kind of triumph of a certain style, mood, and texture. The look and feel of it is kind of interesting, but in the end, I just found it dull, emotionally remote, and it was masturbatory, and I didn't mean that as a pun. I mean, it was personal excess. I don't know. I didn't get it. I didn't get what they were going for. And again, if they were going for what I thought they were going for, I've seen it done better in other films.
So not recommended.
Not recommended. Yeah, even Daniel Craig, his performance is being lauded. I think it's because he's a straight actor playing a gay role. Personally, I think that's why they're lauding it. But to me, it seemed very the performance seemed very actorly, meaning he was employing all these tics and quirks, and his accent was funny. It was weird. I don't know. It's a no. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So much for Queer. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y2K.
Yeah. This is a teen disaster horror comedy, which takes place on the last night of 1999, December 31st, 1999, when it's about two high school kids who crash this New Year's Eve party only to find themselves fighting for their lives in a kind of comic scenario that reimagines the seminal events of Y2K. You know, it was like nearly 25 years ago. I can't believe
Remember,
that.
well, remember we thought the world was going
Um,
to end and all the
yeah,
computers were going to go
yes,
crazy and our money was going to be
yeah,
zapped out of our bank accounts.
exactly. Yeah,
People were
experts were
building shelters in the forest.
right,
Yeah.
right. Experts were predicting that the turning of the new millennium was going to cause like massive systems breakdowns and all that stuff that you said. And you know, the actual outcome was by and large a big nothing burger. But this movie, what this movie posits is, well, what if it had gone another way? You know, the worst way. And that's what this movie posits. And so the film is this kind of crazy what if, and the what if is that things like toasters and blenders and power drills and other household appliances turn homicidal, and they start graphically, grossly killing all these teenagers. Okay, that's the premise. And okay, I'm just going to get right to it. It's a well-intentioned movie. It's an affectionate ode to that time period with the film's aesthetic being steeped in a kind of a nostalgia, you know, for the late 90s and early 2000s. I think Gen Xers will especially like the songs and all the pop culture references in the film, but it's just not funny at all, this movie. It's an unfunny comedy, which of course are the worst kinds of comedies, because all comedies are supposed to make you laugh, and when they don't, even 90 minutes, which is this film's runtime, it seemed like an eternity. So well-intentioned or not, I mean, Y2K for me was probably one of the worst movies of the year. Just god awful, and it just didn't work. Sorry. And I'm batting 1,000 this week, right? With two big no's, right? To start off the
No, not recommended. Okay.
No. I mean, no.
This one looks weird to me, Tim. It's called Slow.
Well, it is kind of weird, but it's kind of weird in an interesting way. So we're gonna go from one of the worst movies of the year to one of the best, really. Actually.
Okay.
Flow, which is this animated feature from Latvia. And this too recently won Best Animated Feature from the National Board of Review, now that I'm thinking of it. And okay, so what is it about? It's virtually a silent film, for one, which is to say that there's no dialogue in this movie whatsoever, just music and effects and animal utterances. And it's about this solitary black cat who's kind of floating in the water there in that poster, who's literally trying to keep one step ahead of an apocalyptic flooding of the planet. Right, and who, as he or she, we don't know the gender of the cat, is eluding being drowned, encounters this series of other animals along the way who are also trying to escape this planetary flooding. That's the best way I can describe it. And this is another one of those you've never seen anything quite like this films. It's a lyrical, strange, magical, almost like a dream of a movie. And I mean that literally, because when I was watching it, it reminded me mostly of precisely that, a dream. I've had dreams like this movie, like the way this movie plays, like the way this movie looks. Dreams where I'm in peril and in need of escaping from one situation to another, never really reaching a destination or an end goal of security, but I'm in this like hamster wheel of uncertainty with only moments of respite that are transitory. They don't last, but I don't die in the dream either. That's this movie. But the hope in it is that the animals that the cat encounters, nobody has any name. There's all kinds of weird animals in this, including this capybara. Do you know what a capybara is? It's like a big rodent, a giant rodent. They're animals that normally wouldn't get along with each other, but in this movie find themselves in a position where in order to survive the waters that just keep rising, they have to get along. So that's I think that's what this movie's going for. It's sad, kind of. I found it emotional. It captures that in-the-moment quality that animals have, especially cats, where they know how to be fully present in the moment, deal with whatever it might be that they have to deal with, or with what might be threatening them, and then they just go back to the business of living without thinking about what just happened. Sure. So it's very special. It's very different. It's beautiful. It's very beautiful too, in a melancholy way, this movie. It's also like a dream in that when you're watching it, you follow it from situation to situation, but it's also like a dream in that it's hard to explain or talk about
Mhm.
afterwards in the waking state. So it's a very, very special movie. It's stunningly animated. Apparently, it was rendered on this software called Blender, which is this accessible, free, and open source 3D computer graphics software tool
Mhm.
that runs on Windows and Macs and Linux. So if anybody wants to make their version of Flow, I guess they can do it. But it's it's worth seeing, but you got to really go with the flow, so to speak. I mean, you do. You have to go with the flow. I mean, I'm watching it and like, I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this. You know, these animals are like drowning, but
Oh, no.
nobody drowns in this movie. But look at the poster. I thought, I don't want to see animals in peril, and I just don't want to see it. But it really, the cumulative effect of the movie is a positive one and an uplifting one. And oh God, it's another one of these movies, and the last one we're going to talk about today, which is called The End. It's another one of these apocalyptic scenarios that you're thinking, oh, look what happened yesterday when we thought we were going to get like flooded.
Yeah.
uh, it's you watch these movies and you go, God, there's some truth in this, but I really hope it doesn't come to this kind of thing. And
Well,
that's where I found it sad.
here's something I never thought I'd hear the words put together. Animated Latvian movie.
Yeah, animated.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. The Latvia has actually submitted this to the Academy
Oh,
for
wow.
consideration for the best international feature award. Not even animation. They're so proud of it as the movie they want to represent their country.
Would you
So
say that this is for kids?
yeah, I would say, God, I'm so bad at this. I would say it depends on the kids. I would say okay for 10 and above, but with a
Okay.
parent,
Right.
because some of it might be, you know, alarming for
Sure.
kids, Yeah, especially when, oh God, this poor cat is like just indefatigable and he just keeps going, and you're thinking, oh my God. But anyway, it's okay. It's your worst fears about the what's going to happen to these animals. It doesn't happen. So anyway, yeah, I would say older kids, but maybe
Okay.
not the little ones. I don't know. It
Yeah.
depends. Yeah.
Next one is called Maria.
Maria, yes, that is Angelina Jolie in the picture. And this is another film, not for all taste, but one I liked a lot. It's a biography of sorts, and a very stylized one. It's directed by this guy named Pablo Larraín, and it's the director's third in a trilogy of films about the lives of historically significant women. The first of these was called Jackie. I don't know if you ever saw that, which starred Natalie Portman as Jackie Kennedy. The second one was called Spencer, which was about Princess Diana, which starred Kristen Stewart as Diana, Princess of Wales. And this one, Maria, is about the great Greek operatic soprano Maria Callas, starring Angelina Jolie as the great opera diva. And I feel that this one, this third in Pablo Larraín's trilogy of the lives of famous women, is probably the best of the three. I liked the previous two. I liked Spencer less so than I did Jackie, but this one, the approach that he used, and it's the same approach he used for Spencer and Jackie. Pretty much, it can only be described as idiosyncratic. It's very florid and kind of romantic and borderline camp, but not quite. It rides the line between camp and high serious drama. I think it works the best in this biography because it is about one of the great operatic sopranos of all time. I love the music. The use of all the arias and the positioning of the arias within the narrative was just masterfully done. Angelina Jolie lip syncs to Callas's recordings,
I was
and
gonna say, I
she's
don't think she's not much of I mean, I don't know. Can she sing?
I don't know. No, well,
We'll never
and the
find
thing
out in
is,
this movie.
and the thing is, nobody could sing like Callas.
Right.
She had a very, very distinctive voice. Sometimes she was hard to listen to, but she was such a great actress. One of the things about operatic singers, sometimes on stage, they're not they're not very good actors, but Callis was a brilliant actress. And so sometimes when her voice sounded really shrieky or shrill or whatever, it somehow you didn't mind because it suited the character. And she had this great profile. I mean, she was, anyway. Yeah. So anyway, the movie's like an opera in itself. It's big, it's grand, it's opulent. It's a kind of a fever dream with a very good script, with some really fine observational dialogue about art and singing and performance. And bottom line for me, it effectively captured, in my opinion, the mystique and the myth and the glamour and the tragedy of La Callis, as she was known to her massive fan base. So I recommend it, especially to opera aficionados and classical music fans, biography fans. And yeah, there are some liberties taken with some of the facts of her life. I know already people are complaining about this, opera. People who really know opera are going, yeah, but I think Lorraine, the director, was going for more of an emotional truth rather than a documentary like factual one. And that's why he probably called this movie Maria instead of something like the Maria Callas story. But I think it captures her really well. And Jolie is just, I think she's wonderful, marvelous. Nobody, and a lot of Callas in interviews and stuff, she was very posed, and I don't mean that critically, but Jolie has managed to copy that perfectly. And at times it's like it was like watching Faye Dunaway play Joan Crawford. There were moments where you go, Jesus, that really, oh no, that's not really Joan Crawford, that's Faye Dunaway. Well, Jolie affects that equally as well, and she's great. I love Angelina Jolie. So yeah, that's Maria. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, the next one is called The Order. This is kind of one of these thriller style movies.
Yeah, this is on a totally different note. It's an intense historical action crime drama thriller. It's based on this real life guy who's named Bob Matthews, played by Nicholas Hoult in the movie. I think he's to the left on the poster there, who was this guy. Bob Matthews was a neo-Nazi activist and leader of this group, this terrorist group called The Order, which was a white supremacist group. And the story, which pretty much, according to my research, happened the way it's portrayed in the movie. It takes place in 1983, where this FBI agent, played by Jude Law, who's, brandishing the gun there in the poster, he begins noticing this pattern in recent bank robberies and counterfeiting operations and armored car heists that are terrorizing communities across the Pacific Northwest. So he's determined, right, and he sets out to prove that this ain't the work of a traditional organized crime unit, which appears to be the conventional wisdom, but he thinks it's a radical group, and one called The Order, led by this guy, Bob Matthews, whose goal was to overthrow the U.S. government and create a race war. So that's the premise of what amounts to a very good crime drama based on true events, which has, watching this, it had, for me, and I think, people who are paying attention to what's going on in the world right now, they'll see that it has particular resonance with what's happening in this country right now. The rise of Christian nationalism, the rise of anti-Semitism, and ultimately the story of a leader who is completely self-absorbed and who uses people as tools to get what will only personally enrich himself. So it's
what does that sound like?
I don't know. Nobody I know. Anyway, so it's a really good, albeit disturbing, and it's violent too. It's strong and gripping drama that it's in its epilogue. It makes a connection to the January 6th insurrection. According to this movie, there was a book called The Turner Diaries, which I had never heard of, which was this book that was used as a kind of operating manual for this domestic terrorist group, dramatized in the movie called The Order. It was written in 1978 by a white nationalist author. His name escapes me at the moment, but was also used as a kind of playbook by many of the U.S. citizens who stormed the Capitol building in January of 2021. And it outlines 6 stages as how the government's going to, how this government overthrow will occur. And it depicts a violent revolution in the U.S., which leads to the overthrow of the government, a nuclear war, and ultimately a race war, which leads to the systematic extermination of non-whites and Jews mostly. So that's the
Movie
order.
sounds horrible.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, if you like these kind of movies, this is at the top of the list. I mean, I don't know of any better. And
Well,
it's
I
also
like a
got
good thriller, but this sounds just like, ugh,
yeah,
all the stuff I've been trying to get away from, you're just gonna lay it on me even more so.
yeah, well, it does have an emotionally satisfying climax, let's just say, without giving
Okay.
anything away. But it's a solid crime drama too, and it's anchored by one of Jude Law's best screen performances. He plays this jaded, on the edge FBI agent determined to
Mhm.
crack this case. So very, very, just it was good. It was like a breeze. And I'm cramming movies these days. This one was easy to watch because it was so tense and it was so involving.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's good, but
So you say yes to this one.
unpleasant. Yeah, I say yes to The Order.
The Order. Okay. The next one is called Night Bitch.
Night Bitch. Yeah, directed by Mariel Heller. Who I believe is from the Bay Area. I think she may be from Palo Alto. Anyway, she filmed one of my favorite movies from 2018. It was called Can You Ever Forgive Me? It starred Melissa McCarthy. And she delivers yet again with this black comedy about a stay-at-home mom played by Amy Adams, who's in the poster there,
Mhm.
who
Doesn't look like
sometimes
Amy Adams at all, does
no,
it?
no, I think she gained a lot of weight to play
Okay.
this. But anyway, the hitch in the get along is that she sometimes transforms into a dog. Right? Yeah. Right. Okay. That particular animal symbology is, I think, used here to show how motherhood might manifest, or to show how motherhood manifests, because there have been books about this
Mhm.
on a mythical level, as in the sound that comes out of a woman's mouth at the moment of birth, pure animal. And what Night Bitch is also about are the out and out challenges and rewards of raising a child, of giving birth, the joys and the brutality of giving birth, the intensity of that experience, and the physical brutality that women go through in the actual process of bearing a child, and the power in that. Women making life, women creating life. After my mom passed right before COVID really took its toll. She didn't die of COVID. There were other complications, but I
I'm sorry.
wish my mother were alive now. So I mean, watching this movie made me appreciate her.
Mhm.
I mean, I've always appreciated my mother, but these are things I think she went through too. But boy, she never complained. She never let on. It wasn't even an issue. I mean, so this is quite the original take on motherhood, this movie. It's a funny one, it's a moving one, and it's a very provocative one with a great central performance by Amy Adams. I'm not sure how well it will go down with general audiences, because it's odd, but it sure as heck went down well with me. I mean, I bought it hook, line, and sinker, and it just made me appreciate women more. I think women are the superior sex. Sorry, guys, I do. I think they are. I just think they are. But this movie just gave me a deeper appreciation of the women who bear the children.
Is this in theaters?
It's in theaters. Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's in theaters, and it's going to stream on Netflix, I think, beginning Wednesday, December 11th. So
Okay.
yeah, if you wait a week, you can check it out on Netflix.
Okay. And then last you have a movie called The End.
The end. Yeah, we saved the end for the end. Okay, when I was talking about Flow earlier in the show as being another one of those you've never seen anything quite like this kinds of movies,
Right.
well, that's even more of an apt description for The End, which is, and check this out, Kim. This is a musical. Wicked's not the only musical out for the holidays. This is a musical about a family, a wealthy family, living quite comfortably and cozily in a bunker in a post-apocalyptic world. That's a
Huh.
concept for you, eh? I mean, what? And my take on this ballsy, supremely confident, sui generis musical
Mhm.
is one of both utter frustration as well as exhilaration. Frustration in that the film absolutely refuses to make any concessions whatsoever to its audience. This is one of the most uncommercial films I have ever seen. I doubt it will make a nickel. It demands that you go with it and stay with it because it's also frustratingly long at nearly 2.5 hours, but also exhilaration as a film critic in that I found the whole concept and the whole idea of this film, a musical about the end of the world, focusing on a wealthy family who may very well have done things to actually have caused the collapse of civilization because the father is, let's just say he's a very wealthy mogul involved in business. I just found it to not only be relevant, but as a movie and as a work of art from a filmmaker, courageous, brave, bold, and ultimately brilliant. This is from the same director. His name is Jesse Oppenheimer, who gave the world the San Francisco Bay Area Film Critics Best Documentary Award for 2014. It was a movie called The Act of Killing, which was also balls out, brilliantly brazen in that it was about death squad leaders in Indonesia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the film filmed these death squad leaders actually dramatizing on screen their deeds, their brutal deeds and killings in the style of the American westerns, musicals, and gangster movies that these killers loved. And
Wow.
and they play both themselves and their victims in this movie. How he got away with this, I'll never know. But it was a genius film, and this is a genius film of another kind. I think most people will probably hate it, and I want to caution people: if you're going based on my recommendation, think twice. Because I kept going back and forth all through the movie, thinking it was total trash 1 minute, and then total and absolute genius the next. It's not for everybody, but again, the resonance it has and the themes it explores in relation to where the world itself seems to be heading, it's exceptional and unique and unusual and one of a kind. And it's just one of the boldest and most brilliant films I think I may have ever seen. Or
Wow.
my name isn't Tim Sika. But again, I'm recommending it with caution. It's going to be interesting to see how other critics react to this. I'm kind of waiting to see if they saw it in similar ways that I did. But I just thought it was like a genius work of art. But like a lot of genius works of art, sometimes they're not immediately easily accessible. You know, you got to really like cock your head and go, what the hell? And it's so frustrating because it's long. It's 2.5 hours, and the songs are kind of not so much songs, but just these sort of like, you know, musical interludes that are with dialogue. None of the performers in this movie, Tilda Swinton, what's his name, George McKay, none of them really know how to sing, so they're just singing in these untrained voices. It's a very, very weird film, but the more I think of it, the more I can't wait to check it out again to see if my initial impressions were in any way accurate or correct. I don't know.
All right, we'll go through it again. Oh, and I didn't see a classic movie rec this week from you.
Oh my God, I didn't even do one.
Okay, that's
just
okay.
See, okay, yeah. Oh geez, what's one of yours? You give one of yours this week. Yeah, I forgot.
Well,
I
if you
totally
ask
forgot.
me, it'll be a movie from the 80s.
Yes.
So
okay. So what's a good movie from the 80s?
The Breakfast Club. I like those kind of movies.
Oh, I love The Breakfast. That's a great one. Let's go with that.
We'll go with that. Okay.
Isn't that a movie that no matter how many times you've seen it, you can watch it over and over. Totally. Or if it's like if you're channel surfing and you hit on The Breakfast Club, you go, oh, I'm going to watch this for a few minutes, and you wind up watching it to the end with commercials.
Yes.
That's a great classic recommendation. Thank you, Kim, for doing my job for me this week. I appreciate it.
All right, let's go back to this one. The first one you had for us was Queer. You said, "Why? This movie is dull, it's emotionally remote, they didn't get what they were going for here." You say this movie, Queer, is not recommended by Tim Sika. Y2K, you said it's a well-intentioned movie, but it's, not
It's
funny.
not
It's an
funny.
unfunny comedy. One of the
Yeah.
worst movies of the year,
Uh,
Y2K, gets a
yeah.
no from Tim Sika. The next one is called Flow, and you loved it. You said it's one of the
Mm,
best. It's an animated Latvian movie. You said it's really silent, animal noises, music, that's about it. But you called it a strange, magical dream of a movie, emotional, beautiful, dreamlike, stunning animation. You said it's uplifting and it's worth seeing, and that is Flow. You loved this movie as well, Maria, the story of Maria Callas, starring Angelina Jolie. You said it's big and grand and opulent. It's got a great script and it captured the mystique of Maria Callas. You recommend this one. This
yes.
next movie called The Order about domestic terrorists, you said it is violent and disturbing, but also good. You said it's a solid crime drama. Jude Law is great, and Tim Sika recommends. Night Bitch. I just like to say the name of it.
I know
Night
how, yeah,
Bitch.
I know. And I like how you put the emphasis on the bitch. Yeah.
Mahalo. Thank you. You said this is funny and it's an original take on motherhood. Odd, but you bought it. And any movie that you say this about, I'm behind it. It made you appreciate women. You recommend it. Night Bitch gets a thumbs up from Tim Sika. Night Bitch.
Night
And
bitch.
you say this one, The End. You've never seen anything like it. You said it's a musical about a wealthy family living in a bunker. You called it ballsy but confident, frustrating, exhilarating at the same time, not commercial, probably won't do well, you said, but you said it's courageous and bold, and you called it brilliant. So
Yeah.
even though you say most people will hate this one, you say you're going to give this a recommendation with caution. So there you
Yes,
go.
and that's about the size of it for this
Mhm.
week. And Kim, if Mark runs, I mean, I don't know how your show is structured or how much, how you want to work it, but if his show goes over and you want me to come on a little later, I can do that too.
Well,
I mean,
thank
I don't
you.
want, yeah, I mean, I could whatever. I don't.
Doing it
Well,
already at 1:30 because I wanna give
okay.
you a full half hour, and then I know a lot of people think the show will end at 2, so then I don't know what people have to do afterward, but everyone knows that this show starts when that show ends, so I think most of the time he doesn't really go that long, but today it was longer, so
Yeah,
my
yeah.
apologies.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, that's okay.
yeah.
I was just saying I can work with that if it becomes
Oh,
an
that's
issue. So,
nice. Thank
okay,
you.
you're
What are
welcome.
you planning to see this weekend?
Oh man, oh God, I have to look and see. I have to look and see. I'm gonna see the new Timothy Chalamet Bob Dylan movie.
Okay,
I'm gonna see that. I'll probably see Nosferatu. I'll probably see Baby Girl, which is the Nicole Kidman, the older woman, young man romance
oh,
movie.
another one of those, huh?
One of
Okay,
those, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll
yeah.
see that and a bunch of others. I mean, but today I think I'm just gonna sit in my office and stare at the walls for the next 2 hours
I just
because it's funny. People always say, "Oh, you have the best job," blah blah blah. But it is work.
yeah,
It's different when you're watching a movie and you have to talk about it or review it or write about it, as
sure,
opposed to just sitting down and just watching a movie for enjoyment. Like I never
right.
eat when I watch movies. I mean, I never eat popcorn because I'm working and writing
Right.
and looking at it. And so it is work, but it is a nice job. I
Yeah,
have to
no,
admit,
totally. But
I'm
it's
not
always
complaining.
changes the nature of doing something when you are having to focus and think versus when you're able to veg out, right? Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and also just shifting, watching a movie that may be like The Order, which is like really,
sure.
really intense, and then putting on something like The End. I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
okay, wait a minute, I got to clear my palate somehow before I can even, Yeah, so I just go out for a walk usually before, and then come back and watch what's here to see.
Well,
So,
before you go, Angel in the Bay Area throws down $10 for the after party and says, "Thanks, Tim." Woohoo!
oh, thank
Yeah.
you, Angel.
Oh,
Yay,
nice. Yeah,
yay,
thank
yay.
you.
That's nice.
A lot of compliments, and a lot of people are so grateful that you keep coming on the show and that
Oh, that's
we're
so
able to do
nice.
this segment. So as we
That
go into the new year, just huge thank you to you for continuing this segment from
Oh, you're
KGO to
welcome.
the Nikki Medoro
Yeah,
show
yeah,
to this show.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome,
Awesome.
Kim. It's
Yeah,
fun. I look forward to this time every week, and that's no joke. I
awesome.
really do.
As do I. Tim Sika at the movies. We are waiting for you next week, and thank you for all the great movie reviews this week.
All right, thanks, Kim. Have a good weekend.
Bye. At the movies with Tim Sika, everybody. Oops, I cut him off prematurely. My apologies. Okay, let's get jumping into just a couple stories that I had for you because we don't have much time left. And I wanted to let you know that this is coming up. Have you seen this? I have happened by it on accident. And now that I know about it, I would go there. I would go seek it out. This is crazy good. This is Let's Glow SF, and it happens every year. It seems like they're bringing it back. What happens is they have a series of buildings in San Francisco where they do a light show against the building, and they have music that matches the light show. And it's not long, maybe, I don't know, 5-10 minutes per building. And then you can move on to the next one on the list for the next light show on the next building. Large scale animated light installations on the exteriors of San Francisco's iconic buildings around downtown. 16 different artists from around the world have created these light shows, and they're incredible. In addition to 7 light installations, they also have projections this year at Annie Alley in Yerba Buena, an art installation at the Crossing at East Cut. They'll be at 101 California, Annie Alley, The Crossing, the Ferry Building, One Bush Plaza, Pacific Coast Stock Exchange. That's always a really good one. I think that's what you're looking at here. The Salesforce Tower as well, the PG&E substation. They're going to kick it off tonight with Countdown to Glow in front of the Ferry Building. Entertainment starts at 5 p.m. And then the light show officially turns on at 7. Then next Friday, they're holding a glow on front, a neon block party on Front Street as well. The Let's Glow SF runs nightly from December 6th tonight through December 15th. The nightly shows 5:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. This is all free. Here's another shot of it. Really cool. Here's one in an alley. Look at all the people lined up. And sometimes it's a situation where you just happen to be in the area, and all of a sudden the lights and the music start, and you turn and look and just can't possibly look away. It's really cool. As some people you see bring chairs and seek it out, and that's fun too. So, Let's Glow SF starts tonight, and I wanted to make sure, in case you're going to be anywhere near San Francisco, that you knew about it. Can we talk for a minute about what's happening in Japan? They have now a new push to go to the 4-day work week. And Tokyo is switching to a 4-day work week. They're trying to boost birth rates. And we've talked about this before, but this is now official. In Japan, they have the world's oldest population. 10% of their citizens are over 80 years old, and the birth rates are declining. So they think, hey, give people more time off. They're going to get to it. You know what I'm saying? The Tokyo city government is offering state employees 3-day weekends in the hopes of another possible result, which is extra time to make more babies. They announced the policy shift December 3rd. The governor of Tokyo says while the flexible schedules will apply to all workers, the move is particularly geared toward potential new mothers. They will continue to review work style flexibility to ensure women don't have to sacrifice their careers due to life events like childbirth or child rearing. It's an empowering women goal that has lagged far behind the rest of the world. They say it's been a long-standing issue in their country, so they're implementing a 4-day work week, the government of Tokyo, starting in April of 2025. They're also trying to increase funding for nursery schools, and they're trying to fund options for egg freezing. So their declining population is a big deal. Is that what it takes to get to the 4-day work week? All right. I do have a video to show you because I thought this was interesting. It's also holiday related. And it's about it's speaking of Friday Fabulous Florida. This is a Florida related story, and it's about a bear that stole the Grinch. At first the people came out and they thought, who stole our Christmas items? You think people did it, right? Someone was being pranked or stole their Christmas stuff. And then they went back and they looked at the security footage. Check it out.
Yeah, he was literally like clawing at like trying to unplug it, and yeah, he took it to the woods.
You are watching a bear attempt to save Christmas by stealing a Grinch out of a Golden Gate Estates woman's yard. The homeowner says the bear has done this twice now. NBC2's Samantha Romero spoke with the homeowner who says this bear really doesn't like the Grinch. Sam?
Shanique Suarez told me she put out her holiday decorations in November, but last Friday, one of them went missing. First, she thought it was a prank or some dogs. Turns out it was neither. It was something much bigger and a lot furrier.
Yeah, we were just dumbfounded. We were like, where did it go?
It all started on Black Friday. Shanique Suarez noticed her inflatable Grinch decoration missing. She checked the cameras, looked around, and didn't find anything.
Somebody taking it, somebody playing a prank on us.
Until she got a text from a neighbor.
And my neighbor texted me 2 days ago saying, hey, it's 2 houses down. Is it yours? I said, yeah. And I went and picked it up and we replugged it, but under the camera view so we can see what's going to happen again.
Then 3 o'clock Wednesday morning, her surveillance system notified her. She took a peek and saw a bear stealing the Grinch and dragging him into the woods.
He was literally like clawing at like trying to unplug it, and yeah, he took it to the woods. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I literally like text my husband and I'm like, what is going on? Like we were texting back and forth, just rewatching the video, sending it to all of our family and friends at 5 a.m. because we were like, what is going on?
As for the Grinch, he's not seeing Christmas this year from Suarez's porch. Now,
Actually, it's chewed off the plug.
it's from inside the trash can.
We thought it was the craziest thing, but yeah, it's a funny story to tell.
Local in Golden Gate Estates along 22nd Avenue Northeast. Samantha Romero, NBC2.
Oh, that's funny. That's not what you would think. Good thing they caught it on the camera, right? This is another sweet story. And this one is about the world's oldest newlyweds. And it's a great way to end the show today. So let's take a look at these folks. These people found love in their twilight of their lives. They're in Philadelphia. This man is 100 years old, and this woman is 102 years old. They met at their senior care home in Philadelphia, and they fell in love, and they got married there. And they are now the recipients of the Guinness World Records World Oldest Newlyweds. They have confirmed that Bernie and Marjorie Fitterman, someone's trying to call me, clearly. Bernie and Marjorie Fitterman broke the record for the world's oldest couple to marry when they tied the knot at the senior living facility where they both reside. They got married at around May 19th. So it's been a while, but they had to get everything verified and all of this. They met at a costume party at the care home, and they then discovered they'd both gone to the same college, the University of Pennsylvania, at the same time, but they never crossed paths there. The family of the woman said they were so lucky to have found each other and be a support to each other during the pandemic. They both had 60 plus years of marriage to their first spouses, and then they found love again at 100 years old. So pretty sweet. They said it felt like the right step to take to become husband and wife. They both love to stay up to date on world events. They love each other's humor and intellect. They keep each other young. And so there they are at 100 and 102, the world's oldest newlyweds. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a really good weekend. Thank you for being here on the After Party Live. Next week on the Mark Thompson Show, I'll be hosting with Michael Schur. So it'll be fun and exciting, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I will see you on Monday. I hope you have a really great weekend. Make it the very best one. A huge thank you to everyone who contributes to the After Party Live, helping keep this show rolling. It's been interesting this year trying to do the show solo, and so your support in however it's offered just means the world. Huge thank you to Angel in the Bay Area for the super sticker, and of course to Wes, who routinely kicks in $5 a day via PayPal. The PayPal information is in the show description and in the About tab here on YouTube. But have a great weekend, and I'll see you back here on the YouTube on Monday. Until then.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Much better, although I think that was him calling from school. Probably wants to come home.